Hello and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories from authors from around the world. I'm Matt Bird, and today I'm talking to David Parry from Cambridge in the United Kingdom, who has written a book called The Seven Pillars. David, welcome.
Morning, Matt. Lovely to be here. It's a milestone, of course. Yeah, delighted.
Absolutely, massive milestone. Your book has now been globally published. But first of all, let's find out about you. What do your friends tell us about you, David? If they were here and I was interviewing them, what would they say about David?
Oh my gosh. I think they probably say that uh, I'm a teacher, that I'm a caring person. That I look, I help people. That'd be the main thing. I think they'd say that I traveled a lot, and that
Yeah,
I'm a family man. Lots of children. 4 children.
4 children and your grandchildren, yeah?
I have grandchildren, and can you believe it? I have one great grandchild, so I'm actually a great grandfather.
Oh my,
Amazing.
David, you are
Yeah,
not old enough.
there you go. Yeah. Oh, I am.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
that's what your friends and family say about you. You're caring. You're a family man. What about your clients, David? Because you run a business. What is it your clients say about you?
I think the clients that yeah, well, if you ever read some of the comments that clients make about me, I think they see me as somebody that someone they trust. Because
Yeah,
I obviously because I am older, I do have a great grandchild, so I've been around a long time in business. So I think they trust what I say, and I think I've helped a lot of people in business. I've helped businesses grow.
yeah.
So yeah, and we enjoy it. We have fun. I mean, I think that's the other thing. Whatever you do in business, of course, it's hard work, but it needs
Yeah,
to be fun as well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
where it is fun, where the people are together, Matt, then you see the magic happen with companies. And yeah,
Wonderful. And what's the name of your business, David, and what does it do?
it's Smart BRG, and I focus on mid-cap, so mid-cap businesses, international businesses, and so established companies. And the reason for that is they're existing companies, and if they're not quite doing what they should be doing, maybe they're just not growing or declining, then it's like the engine of a car. If the car's not working, you can figure out what's wrong with it. It might be several bits, but you can figure out what it is and make it perform better. Quite different from a startup.
Yeah,
So I don't, yeah,
very.
startups I think are harder.
Yeah. So you're not just a family man and a businessman. I've also discovered something today. You're also an artist.
Yeah, well, it started many years ago, Matt. So my paintings, you might see what I can't how to do this. There's one in the background there, but
Yeah.
my paintings are large and detailed, surreal landscapes, most of them. And if you could see the detail, you'd understand that. And they started off, I don't know, in my 30s, I guess. I started painting, really as a way of de-stressing, a way of locking myself out from the crazy 16-hour day working, and you put the headphones on, get a note sable in your hand, magnifying glass, and then you're lost to the world. Good meditation.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, David, you've added to your long list of accomplishments now, being a globally published author. Now, let's start at the beginning. When did you first think I might write a book?
Oh my gosh. Probably in truth about 10 or 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, certainly. And it wasn't the book I ended up with, but I thought I thought about writing a book, but it was going to be more of a memoir. I
Yeah,
guess in the end, it's a combination of a business memoir and but the yeah. So I think Matt, one of the when you're young, certainly my age, when you're younger, they say, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And you say, "Oh, I want to travel the world and meet people." I never said that, but it's actually what happened to my in my life when I look
yeah,
back. I've worked and visited 47 countries
yeah.
around the world. So it's been that kind of life. And I thought there's got to be a reason for that. I need to write about this stuff. But you know what it's like. You get busy. There's never enough time. I must have had at least 50 different starts of writing a book, and you never get around to it, and then until I met you.
Yeah, I was speaking at a business event in Cambridge, and you were in the front row, and you asked lots of questions, and then you joined my course. I mean, it's yeah. So let's jump over that bit. But what was it about the PublishU writing my book course that you found most helpful, David?
Oh, I think two things are clear for me. One was the accountability, for sure. Like I said, it's like going to the gym, isn't it? You try to do it at home. Yeah, I don't want to feel like it this morning. But if you're accountable to someone, then it makes a difference. So that was definitely one thing. The other thing was I mean, you've got a very structured program, which guides people along the way. And I think that the group, the teamwork, so the group of people encouraging each other. So those would definitely be the things that helped me get there. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
amazing. And now your book's globally published. I mean, how does that make you feel, David? Now that anybody in the world can
Unbelievable,
buy your book.
unbelievable, Matt. It's such I don't know. It's just a personal achievement. You think because at first you think, yeah, I've just written 60,000 words, whatever it is, and then but then it's the realization dawns on you when your designer comes up with a book cover and you think, wow, oh, it's real. so so yeah, it's just a personal achievement, isn't it? It's just sort of,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I wrote a book this year.
yeah. Just like that. Yeah, I mean, for somebody with as many accomplishments as you have, David, to say that it's really meaningful and powerful.
It's hard, much harder than I thought it was going to be. The I mean, if like I say, if it hadn't been for your program, I wouldn't have done it. It's
Yeah,
harder in the sense that for me, there was so many different things that I wanted to talk about. And I ended up at one point, I think I told you, I ended up at one point, maybe three-quarters of the way through, and I had, I don't know, 70 odd thousand words, and I was trying to get it down to 40,000. And it was like a wretched jigsaw puzzle. And I remember the weekend, and I was sitting there thinking, I don't know how to do this. I would just, I mean, I did obviously, but it was that was probably the toughest moment. And then once you got over that, and then suddenly it clicks, and you feel and you understand what it is you're writing about, and you understand the flow. Then it becomes a lot easier.
yeah.
It's a bit like
And
climbing a mountain, isn't it? You sort of think, oh, I can't make that last up to Snowdon, and but then you do it, you think, oh, well, that's all right.
I did it. All right, I could do that again. But let's come back to I can do that again later. But your book is called The Seven Pillars.
Yeah.
So what is the heart of your book about, David?
Okay, so the I've been involved in business recovery for a very long time, even from my early 20s. I worked with a small manufacturing company on a bet, can you believe, with the the owners that they were going to collapse the business, and me being an arrogant 25-year-old said, "Oh no, I can do that." And a long story short, I did. And the bet was whether they were a motor group, and I got to drive a Porsche, but that was the start. I never really didn't really know what I was doing, truthfully, Matt. In those days, I just did it, but it happened, and it happened really, amazing growth. And then throughout my career, I've ended up in situations where they've been bigger businesses, of course, and they've been about recovery, and each time, the first few times it happens, and it feels like, well, that was great, but it was a fluke. You never really understand why. And then I worked for a company in the early 2010, I think, maybe 27. And they were in 23 countries, global business, and we did an exercise uh, on what was making this company tick and what made it grow, because the investors believed it could grow 10 times faster than it was. I mean, it was already a successful business.
Yeah,
But that exercise was absolutely amazing for me because we went in infinite detail with me and four other people for 4 months, just delving into every aspect of this business. And then for me, it was like a light bulb going off. There was then that was the point that said, now I understand what are the key drivers for an existing business, not a startup, for an existing business, that if it's not working, it'll be one of those areas where the 7 pillars, one of those areas that will won't be working right. And so then bit by bit, I then figured out how to focus on those things early on, and then I built an online app, so it was actually faster to do the audit.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got through, I think 18 companies now I've worked with over the last 20 years, and you see the hockey sticks every time. And it's not
Yeah.
me; it's just refocusing,
Yeah.
and the people in the business. So obviously the people in the business are the stars. I'm just the
Yeah.
guy that
And
guides
so,
them on the way.
yeah, so this is what your book's about. So who is your book for, and what is it you hope they take from reading it? What do you want the impact to be?
I think it's for new leaders in the business for sure. So if you're coming in as the new MD, the new CEO, or the new head of sales or VP of sales for a medium to large international business, in lots of countries, the first question is, well, how on earth can you figure out what's going on in this business in order to bring about the growth that you're looking for? So
Yeah.
and that's where the book that I've written, obviously the book that I've written is the 7 pillars, but around it there's all these stories about. So it's all very well me saying, well, these are 7 things, and actually it's 240 things in the book, but 7 key pillars. But what makes me qualified to say that is all the case studies that surround the 7 pillars in the book. And so
Yeah.
it's for any new leader or any aspiring leader going, somebody who's looking to go into that kind of realm. And there's something very special about, medium to large companies in an international world. Classic for an international business for me is that I call it sub-optimization. So if you get an international business, I'll guarantee you can always improve performance, because what will happen, you'll get one country that's doing great things in one part of the world, another country that's doing great things, different things in another part, and they don't talk to each other. So you get this an opportunity for performance improvement. Get them to work together. We had the most amazing time with a company in Europe where we're in 9 countries. Not about a good business, but we doubled the size of this business in about 18 months. And it was just bringing, I mean, it was obviously it's process and structure and all those things, but really it was about bringing people together and creating that sense of unification across the business, and then the businesses fly.
Boom.
Yeah,
Amazing. Wow.
sounds
So,
easy, doesn't it?
yeah. So I said earlier in our conversation, David, that we'd come back to this question. So now you've written one book. What's next? What's the next book going to be about?
Good question. So the original book that I was going to write, I think, as we spoke about at the beginning, was my prodigal son story, essentially, because I've gone through many things in my life, and then have changed in the past 10, 15 years. But I didn't tell in the end. I didn't write that story. I wrote a different one,
Yeah.
and I think that story is yet to be told. There are other aspects, so that's definitely one. And there are other aspects of business that I haven't spoken about in this book. So I haven't spoken about. I spoke about how businesses grow, how they succeed. But what I didn't talk about is the other side of it. The ones that don't quite make it, the ones and why that happens. So because I steered away from, I guess, the negatives of it. But I think that's probably a story to be told as well. It's a pitfall, avoiding the pitfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, I always say to people, you do the PublishU writing my book course once, and you've got all the skills, strategies, and techniques to go on and write as many books as you want. However,
I've probably got another 50,000 words here, Matt. That didn't
absolutely.
quit the book. Yeah.
However, people doing their second book often rejoin another course because, as you said earlier, it's not just the coaching and content, but it's the peer group and the community and that
Absolutely.
support and encouragement and challenge and peer accountability as well
Yeah.
as with me. So, David, I look forward to your next run through. We're both going to be, well, a little bit older, but certainly much wiser. And I'm really excited about working with you on your next book too. As
Thanks,
we wrap
Matt.
up today, is there any final thought you want to leave with listeners?
I think the just keep a balance in life. And that's a combination of my prodigal son part and the business thing. So, having worked, and I'm sure many people will listen to this and they understand that you're working the 16 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week, traveling the world, and an imbalance in the work-life balance. And we all talk about it, but it is so important that you keep family and work in balance. I think would be a takeaway for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, David.
And
And
enjoy this course. Go work with Matt, whatever you do, because I think it's there's a book inside all of us, and like I said at the beginning, Matt, without it, I wouldn't have written it, and I'm so grateful to you for running this program. So thank you. Yeah.
thank you, David. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast today, featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like David, please do visit our website, www.publishu.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, please do subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us today, and goodbye for now.